Hello everyone. I trust that everybody is doing okay. Today we're going to talk about carbon, element number 6 on the periodic table, with very interesting properties given where it's situated. It has got four valency electrons, that is 4 electrons sitting at its outermost energy shell, hence one of its properties, which is being tetravalent. So the tetravalency enables it to be able to combine with other elements in so many different ways, including forming covalent bonds in and within itself. So tetravalence is one of the properties that are very important for this particular element. We have catenation, again, which is also linked to the tetravalence. Catenation is ability to form long rings or chains when it's going to form other molecules or compounds. We have also bonding, the ability for this particular element to be able to bond with other elements, so covalent bonds within itself, and also other elements to form compounds and molecules of different kinds. We have also compound formation, ability to form compounds such as oxides and chlorides or halogens, such as carbon tetrachloride. So those are some of the properties of carbon, and from these particular properties, especially the tetravalency, carbon gets to exhibit very interesting properties, which also gives it the applications. So let me also mention quickly about the ability of this particular element to form versatile forms of itself. So those are called allotropes. The allotropes of carbon are different kinds of formations of carbon because of the nature of its bonding. So when you have four solid bonds continuously, they form what we call a tetrahedral structure, and that is how diamond is formed. Diamonds are very transparent, solid, very hard allotrope of carbon, which finds its application in jewelry, of course, and also in industry, especially in formation of cutting machines, because of the hardness of this particular material, courtesy of the strong, continuous carbon covalent bonds that are formed, making that tetrahedral structure that is very tough. We have also soft material that is formed out of carbon, which is going to be graphite. Graphite is a material that is formed because of the hexagonal structures that are formed, which are layered as monoatomic sheets, hence allowing graphite to slide over each other. That's why you have pencil leads or pencils having the ability to write, because as you write, the sheets or layers of these particular carbon atoms peel off and form a mark on a piece of paper or any other material where you're writing on. That is because of that property of graphite forming hexagonal layers that are able to slide off of each other, hence that application. And for this reason also, graphite finds application in industry, especially in formation of lubricants that are non-greasy or non-messy, because of that ability as well. Graphite is also very conductive material, and for that reason it's also used to form conductive substances in processes such as electrolysis, where it forms the cathodes, which are going to be able to conduct electricity in and out of an electrolyte. And also we have other forms that are not very common. One of them is going to be fullerenes. We have graphene, which are single layer or monocarbon sheets. We have also amorphous carbon, which we're very conversant with. Amorphous carbon is carbon that doesn't have any particular kind of structure on how the bonds are arranged together. And charcoal will be a good example of that. Coal will be a good example of that. Soot, which is a byproduct or a residue that is left behind after burning carbon fuel, is also an example of an amorphous carbon substance. And for that reason, you find applications of carbon in many areas. Essentially, carbon forms the backbone of our life, or life in general. Every other substance that you can think of that has life has carbon in it. And essentially the other elements you expect or suspect to be present are going to be hydrogen and carbon. So hydrocarbons together with oxygen are going to form the basis of life as we know it. And of course fuels, like we mentioned, from the very crude sources that we do know of, such as coal. We have charcoal, byproduct of burning wood under reduced oxygen. you're going to have oil products which are also based on solely on carbon. In this case, you're going to have diesel, petrol, kerosene, which is also jet fuel. You're going to have paraffin. You're going to have the LPGs, liquefied petroleum gases, which is basically propanes and butanes that are used for cooking, lighting, and everything in between. And also you're going to find carbon also in industry in many applications, like I mentioned before. Graphite has its applications, and diamond as well, like forming very sturdy structures such as carbon fibers that are based on carbon, basically because of that particular property of forming a tetrahedral strong structure. So that aside, why is carbon important? Carbon is important because, like I said, it's the basis of life as we know it. Okay? For example, in plant life, carbon is the food. Carbon is the fuel. When you have CO2 in the atmosphere, the CO2 is absorbed by the plants, especially the green matter of the plants, where we have oxygen getting absorbed, and chlorophyll within the leaves also takes in the sun's energy, and these two are able to combine with water that is pulled from the soil by the roots to form a sugar, and on the process a byproduct is given out, which is oxygen. So why is this conversation important? Carbon conversation is important to you because it affects you on the daily. Of course, you see carbon everywhere around you, from the charcoal you're going to use, the fuel you're going to put in your car, the jet engine fuel you're going to use to fly around the world, to the gas you're going to use to cook in your home. That is all carbon based, and on the process, pollution is going to take place. Now, that is small scale. In a larger scale, the global north used this particular carbon to drive industry and growth to where it is today. So the entire value chain you see today in the West has been pegged on carbon. And as this was happening, Africa was a slumber. It was being colonized for a good while, and when they regained independence, quote unquote independence, it became an extractive zone where the West still maintained a tight grip extracting from Africa, hence no industry was going on. And for that reason, beside the cultures that are very respective of our environment within the African nations or the continent in general, Africa has not had any giant progress in industry that can be able to cause pollution. We have our forests intact, the vast savanna grasslands very intact, and for that reason we happen to be a sink. So we do much of the sequestering of these particular greenhouse gases than anybody around us, as the West continues to do their pollution because they are already there, they're already industrialized. And the problem is this: Africa has been told, put a pause, we're moving to newer, cleaner energies, don't do any industry, don't create any value within industry in food manufacturing and safety and security. No, take a pause, accelerate into this new world order where you're going to use green energies, or green and clean energies. As you know, the West and Asia continue doing what they do. Africa has about 1.5 billion people. Europe has about 744 million people. Global North is a minority, so to speak, but they're doing most of the pollution. And now, Africa, with our vast lands, being a global sink of, greenhouse gases, still we're being told take a pause and introducing carbon credits, in which case African leaders are being twisted with enticements of loans and grants to take in some breadcrumbs in the name of carbon credits to conserve their environments as the West continues their pollution, and using that particular excuse of carbon credits as a way to offset their pollution that is going on. That is something Africa should shun, and also introduce a new value that has to be paid to Africa for continued sequestering of these pollutants from the atmosphere that are being done from the global north and newly from Asia. And that said, these particular carbon credits are being used as excuses to, even disinherit communities within Africa of their land in the name of carbon credits, in which case communities are being lied to that you're going to get paid to conserve your environment. Plant more trees, don't create any value chain, and on the process, Global North is going to pay you for doing this. Instead, Africa should be able to take a pause, Go full throttle on creating industry. Let Africa industrialize, create value, use their resources and minerals, add value to their resources and minerals, just like the West did for many decades. And when we're able to catch up, Africa can also say, now we are at par, let us have that conversation about conserving the environment, carbon credits, and any other story that is being sold to them in the name of